Okay, hello and welcome everyone to New Moon 2020 Cycle 14, also known as Infinite Beast Cycle 2. Okay, so we have a good number of matches lined up today and hopefully everyone will be able to enjoy that. So before we start, I'm just going to briefly explain what is New Moon, about this format and how to sign up for next week. So New Moon is a weekly round robin tournament. So what that means is we have everyone is going to be playing each other and matches happen throughout the week. So after sign-ups end, builds will be published so that everyone will be able to see what everyone else is playing, and yeah, people will go from there. So Infinite Beast is a format where we use link gate feature that's exclusive to Japan, um, and we apply it so that we maintain beast out as the name implies. Um, so that will change the dynamics between different versions and change how certain things work, which we'll go over as the stream goes. And to sign up for next week, you can head to the N1GP Discord and use exclamation new moon, which gives information about how to sign up. Next week is going to be cycle 15, which is mod cards. So again, more information on that will be used in the command. And yeah, so joining me today on commentary is going to be Buster Cannon. Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
All right, well, let's head right into our first match with Wolfie vs playerzero.
All right. So, looking at these setups, of course, you got Meta Wolfie versus playerzero, also you. But
Yeah.
I noticed that Meta Wolfie is kind of known for using like very unorthodox strategies, but can still be very effective with them. So, one thing I've noticed off the bat is he's running 2 gigas in Gregor,
Yeah.
and you don't see that often, if ever. But this is sort of an interesting setup because you got Kernel Force, which is kind of the tried and true Gregor Giga in general. But then you've got Delta Ray as well.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. So, as you mentioned, we do see double Giga working in Gregor basically at all. But another thing that Metolfi is taking advantage of here is a feature of Infinite Beast, which is that Beast Out maintains their intrinsic feature. So for Gregor, that means Metolfi will always have super armor, so he didn't include that in his Navicast.
That's a good point. So that when you don't have to worry about having super armor, that gives you a little more space. Because normally Gregor cuts are very limited.
Yeah.
Of course, you usually want to have attack max, and actually, even in this case, you don't have charge max because there's no charge shots. So there's more real estate given for that. And Wolfie has decided to invest that into his Giga folder, which is very interesting to see kind of how this will play out. Looking at his folder, he's kind of focusing a lot on Y code. So we've got the Barrier 100s, you've got Summon Blacks, you've got Recover 300s, you've got a little bit of a Z splash with your Sanctuary, your Grab Revenge, your Delta Ray, you can kind of play into that too. Yeah. He's also running Element Man and Blast Man as his SP nabbies.
Yeah, so one thing we usually see with Gregor builds in normal BN is that they try to focus on going with their charge shots because that's where a lot of their damage can come from. But with this, obviously, each chip charge will consume a chip. So you notice something that Metolfi is doing. He has a good number of chips without any elements, so that he can chip charge them and use them that way to deal damage.
Yeah, and even on that end, I'm looking at. Actually, I just noticed Mad Coil, so I'm also a fan of that combo too. I think Mad Coil and Delta Ray is a pretty fun combo to pull off, even in regular Gregor. But the great thing about Mad Coil is, like you said, it's null and null. So if you don't need to use it, you can just chip charge it away and get value out of it that way. With Gregor especially, the beast charges are very, very strong and they cover a lot of area.
Yeah.
So notably, you've got eraser tail arrows, which hurt a lot and they tear through like multiple different forms of defense, and they also inflict an HP bug, which is ridiculous. But you've also got things like Slash Beast doing 400 if you land it correctly. You've got Heat Beast covering area. You've got Elect Beast breaking panels and also paralyzing. So there's a lot of damage you can do with like pretty much each beast charge within Gregor, and this setup is really made to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and one thing to note is that he also has Timpani, which is something that you don't see often. So I believe Timpani is the one that applies Immobilize. It stops your opponent from moving.
Yes, and that can be very scary. I mean, imagine you're trying to dodge eraser tail arrows, and all of a sudden you can't.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to take that, and that gives Gregor a lot of control over what he can land at any time. I mean, that getting hit by a Slash Beast again for 400 when you can't move is really serious. So that's something to definitely keep in mind with the setup.
Yeah.
I think you're kind of moving into your setup. I noticed that you're running Falter, and the first thing I noticed is the customizer. You've got quite a bit of HP there. There's no investment in anything Buster related. It's all, you've got a custom 8, which is solid starting out. You've got Super Armor, of course, which is stable, but you've also got like a very high HP investment too.
Yeah, so the idea I had behind this folder is, if we look at the folder itself, I have fast gauge and a lot of eco chips that can be used to splash with beast jump. So basically the idea is that these chips will combo very well into each other, and with fast gauge they take up a lot of the turn, which will help protect me as well. So with that in mind, I thought that I wouldn't really need to have attack max or any attack, and just focus on HP and custom.
Yeah, and that makes sense, because the beast jump with combining that with chips like Elect Pulse, Wind Rack, Elect Sword, it's kind of allow you to get very good combos off in one turn, where you can just immobilize them completely and continuously just hit them. And also beast jump, I know there's a relationship between beast jump and anti-damage as well, where you keep your anti-damage up as long as you're jumped, and using a setup like this means that you can really take advantage of that setup. Actually, is this the same setup that you used last cycle?
I don't think it's the same, no. So this, I believe that one was M code, that was focused more on bees, yeah. Whereas this is pure beast jump, just trying to get out very fast damage and interrupt your opponent.
Okay, because a couple things look familiar. I was like, I wonder if this is the same one, but no, it's a little different. But I noticed that you've got base anomaly for your Gigos. That's like solid damage right there, and that works out too, because with your build, you're not really looking to break panels with any of your chips. So there's always kind of a stage setup where you can land that, unless you Dust Beast or something, or they get destroyed. But in general, like, it's pretty simplistic to land that. And of course, Element SP is a good complement to the E-code. I also noticed that you've got Super Vulcan, which is kind of great to have in your pocket in this format. It's 500 damage just naturally in this format without any boosting.
Yeah.
And if you do anything to it, it goes up. And of course, White Capsule allows you to pretty much hit anybody unless they're in Tomahawk.
Yeah, so it had Muramasa as well, so just a few chips to add in splash damage in case my normal chips don't quite do that much, or get blocked. They can be blocked somewhat easily with the right movement, so...
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, that's something that Vulture has to keep in mind. Like, you don't have the natural damage of Gregor's, even with the beast charges, they're not as effective in terms of just doing damage whenever you want. So you really have to make sure that your chip selection is good, because that's where all your damage is going to come from.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, well, let's head into the match and see how it goes.
Great.
Okay, so we're watching from Metal Wolfie's point of view, and we see there that he already has few chips He has that mag coil, sanctuary turn 1, which you don't necessarily want that early.
This is interesting because normally Gregor requires a certain amount of setup to kind of do what it wants to do, but in Beast format you can kind of just transform and start going ham from the first turn, so something to watch out for. So fast gauge is popped immediately, and this is going to kind of prevent Wolfie from really attacking the way that he wants to as long as he can. Sanctuary's up early, but with Dust Beast out. Ooh, nice block. So already you see that Reflector putting in work.
Yeah, the Reflector I think is actually very interesting chip, especially in this format. You can easily try to bait people into bustering you and get free 600 damage. You can get counters on beast jumps. I think it's a really interesting chip.
The one thing that Wolfie will have to be aware of is because you're in Dust Beast here, you can use your Beast Charge and start destroying that field immediately.
Yeah, which is probably why we see him going into a race to try to get his chip charge. But unfortunately, if you see from my folders, I have Elec Pulse into Windrak combos, which makes it very easy to land them. So let's see if he's able
that
to...
interrupt is very strong. But he does put the barrier up. Might be able to buy him a little bit of time. Ooh.
That's unfortunate. And then...
and then he eats the... That's very, very unfortunate right there.
Yeah, so Erase still charge pierces invis, but also removes traps. So what we saw there is that with Dust Cross chip charge, you actually leave the field. So even though Erase goes through basically everything, wouldn't hit if that timing was correct.
Yeah, I think, and Wolfie, I feel like Wolfie was waiting for that.
Yeah.
And just baited that out and waited for you to land. Because you're vulnerable for a quick second after you land. And Wolfie wanted to take advantage of that to get the damage when he could. It's also worth noting that Wolfie does not have air shoes, so broken panels can pose a threat.
Yeah, but he is camping on these holy panels, which have been helping him. He basically avoided everything that turn.
Also, he's not running slow gauge, which is interesting. That the fast gauge that you have set up is going to kind of stop him from using arrows at the frequency he might want to.
Yeah, I think part of the reason for that is that he has a lot of splash damage. So he has Delta Ray, Q Force, Elements Mana Speed, Blast Mana Speed. So there is a lot that he can use. So he doesn't really mind the gauge as much.
Ooh, and Life 4 is up, so he's gonna have to tail arrow to get that out. Ooh, it's not gonna be enough to break the aura. We've got to cycle through those chips.
Elements Man. Oh, nice! He's changing it to ice so he can move again. Let's see if he.
Ooh. This is gonna break the aura. But he does lose those tail arrows, and that's a very good asset in the format.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, panel return, that's smart. So, again, he doesn't have air shoes, but he does have a way to establish his movement again. And now that Dust Beast is gone, there's definitely... Now Dust Beast is gone, there's definitely like no way for you to break his panel. So that threat is gone. Like, he's safe. Funny with the air shoes, kind of going back to that, I noticed that in this format generally, almost nobody is running uninstall, and that's something that Gregor players in this format do have to consider, is that do they want mobility or do they want to kind of focus more on pure power?
Yeah, that is true. So the reason why people don't run uninstall is because the features you have intrinsic with Beast out, they can't be uninstalled. So Super Armor, no master landing there, but yeah, Super Armor from Gregor, for example, will stay there regardless.
Yeah, and it really makes the version even more different because uninstal's relationship changes depending on what version you're fighting.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can't remove super armor from Gregors, so it's like, okay, they don't lose that, but they will lose whatever shoes they have. Likewise, with Flop Tart, you can't remove their air shoes, but you can take off their super armor. So you kind of have that choice of, if this matchup I really need, a certain thing on, but in most cases, it's better off to just double down on whatever strategy you have.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, it's gonna break it. Oh, the macro.
I think that was.
I think you wanted the beast charge.
Yeah, that was probably unfortunate mashing. So the thing with beast out and mashing is that it's very it's very sensitive input sensitive. I don't know, but yeah, basically it reads your inputs very easily. So if you press A one extra time, then it will take that as a buffer use for your next chip, instead of just you trying to use your initial chip.
Even looking at this now, I know Meta Wolfie really wants to get off a heat beast charge here.
Yeah, if he can get that.
Oh, but he switches across it.
Oh,
he's in the perfect spot. That's not going to break his aura. Solid 200. Oh, and he's going to get the paralyzed off of this. It actually puts you in a position where you either have to switch crosses or just kind of take whatever comes at you after Judgment Edge.
Yeah, though I think I've already used Tengu, so I wouldn't be able to go into that and remove Life Aura. Ooh, and Q-Force coming out dealing a lot of damage, and followed up by Timpani, which is going to maybe help confirm some of the other chips.
You spent that entire turn paralyzed.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah, that's Q-Force.
Like, soldiers came out and you're just still there. It's fast game, just that quick. Timpani is kind of scary in this situation too, because you're kind of immobilized every few seconds, and oh no, this is scary.
Ooh, and yeah, there is. So that confirmed for Timpani. And it looks like at this point I don't think I had anything to deal with that Life Aura, so it was just basically a game from there when that Tengu man missed.
Yeah, take to the Timpani, but that Delta Ray is perfect positioning.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, finishing off the game.
Yeah, so round 1 goes to Wolfie. With this field here, you've got a Holy Panel starting out. It was still interesting, like turn 1 Sanctuary both times for Wolfie. I think he might delay using it this time because he wants to make sure that a race is on.
Yeah, it looks like he's thinking about taking with him into the 10, which is interesting. I guess maybe he's trying to go through his hand a bit better.
Yeah, notice he's starting off with charge, so I think he wants that custom heat in the second turn. So let's also see what adjustments you have coming in this round as well, to deal with the different threats that Wolfie's putting out there. Ooh, so that's actually, you can break that Holy Panel. Oh, I don't think he wanted to do that.
Coming out. Actually, maybe he did, because now if he can connect his beast charge, he gets 2x. Yeah. Let's see if he's able to connect it. I think heat is the most difficult Gregar chip charge to connect with. So, I mean charge.
Yeah, charge. It only goes down one straight line, so it's kind of rough. Like it does kind of have a Timpani-ish effect where it stops their movement, but compared to the other ones, it's not the most easiest to land.
Yeah, the main thing is that the Timpani effect still allows you to use chips, still allows you to do stuff, so it's not really great.
It's funny, even though that's the hardest one to land, it's still easier than a lot of pulsers.
Yeah. Ooh. Windrock comes out at the perfect time, and Element Man, so that should deal with.
That's gonna deal with Sanctuary. Right, bug fix coming out on your end. This whole fire code is so very dangerous for you.
Yeah.
Not only can he use Blast Man, but he's also got beast charges for either charge or fire that he can shoot off whenever he wants.
And even Element Man SP he has just for free he can just use, so he does have a lot of fire damage.
And I know you do have Element SP on your end as well, but it's kind of a matter of who gets to take advantage of it first.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that much HP to play with either. Ooh. Oh.
TFC,
I agree with that. That would have been a lot.
And I think that avoids. Ooh, nice.
Ooh. Good TFC.
Base anomaly connecting. And that invis avoided rush as well. I don't think rush triggered.
So Wolfie's going to need a lot if he wants to really reversal this out.
Yeah.
But he does have a lot of options. He still has his beast charges. He still has 2 gigas. There's a lot he can do.
He does have +1 area, so looking at Q-Force might be tempting, but he's probably holding on to it for the attack +30. Because even if he doesn't have +1 area when he uses it, then he will still do a lot more damage.
Yeah, and again, that's with beast format, with all null chips having +30. Like Q-Force is one of those, and that's scary. Especially when you have that and another +30 on top of that, like that adds up.
Ooh, looks like he went with a SoulXCross. Unfortunately, that barrier went up in 3-frame window for the TFC, so he couldn't use that to protect his anti-damage.
Ooh, the barrier's gone now, and that's Symphony's up. Just whips the Judge Man, but that wouldn't paralyze here anyway. Again, I think one of the scariest things about this format is the fact that you have potentially an unlimited erase beast. That's honestly nightmare fuel in a way, but the fact that Wolfie, as long as he doesn't get hit by any wind chips, he's going to be able to shoot those off whenever he wants. It looks like he's switching over to heat. He wants to scare Tingu, or scare Hawk away.
So one thing is that the Timpani effect doesn't work on Tomahawk because of Stat Scar. So that's one thing to keep in mind, but that invis is going to last for the whole of turn, so unfortunately can't really do much. And actually that location that Timpani is in is working against Wolfie because that's the best place to try to use heat chip charge. But now it's blocked.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, like, normally you can go to the front of your area and shoot off heat beams, and like that hits everything except for the 2 panels above and below, but Symphony is blocking it, so if you wanted to, you could just hang out in the back and not eat any of that. Because he needs to get rid of that aura too, not the cross too, but also the aura. Like, that's the first thing in the way. So from where you are, you can kind of chill in the back, fire things out. Ooh. Ooh, he steps back just in time.
And yeah, that destroyed that Timpani, so much for that plan.
Delta Ray might, if Wolfie decides to go with that, there's a lot of value you can get from this just in terms of, that would kill the aura and the trap. It would be a little bit of a waste too. However, that may be best if he wants to go for a Q4 to play later on.
Yeah, I mean, he does have that wind drag, so if he's able to connect that, then maybe chip charge the area grab, then he could go with the Delta Ray, but we'll see if that ends up working. Delta Ray can be very easy to stop.
Yeah, and with fast gauge, he doesn't have a lot of time to line the shot up either. He has to pretty much do it the first chance he gets.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
That's gone.
Counter coming out.
okay, that positioning helps him a lot. Oh,
yeah.
It's gonna pop a trap.
I guess still better than nothing. Ooh, reflector coming out.
And that destroys his Trumpy too.
Yeah, but interesting. I did notice that when playing, but that kept his barrier up, so invulnerability protected his barrier.
Good to know.
Because otherwise, if, for example, things like reflector, they don't protect barriers. Oh,
I think they used to. Or, no, ooh, that's a good anti-navi.
Yeah, avoiding being paralyzed. There could be something big coming after this, so let's see. Ooh, another erase man. And then Q-Force ready. Q-Force coming out at the end of turn, and now Metal Wolf is out of chips. Oh wow.
And this isn't gonna paralyze either. Like outside of the Heat Beast charge, there's nothing that threatens Talk anymore.
Yeah. Windrak and Super Vulcan. That dealt a lot of damage and helped avoid some of that Q-Force as well.
Yeah, it's even now, like you're not out of the woods yet just with Beast charges.
Yeah.
That's that was not a good deal.
Yeah, that was unfortunate again.
He's out of chips, or he's got one more heat. I would actually go for the elect too. The paralysis at this point would help to close it out. He doesn't need the extra power at this point. He just needs to control the match. Now give him some more. Oh, he went slash. Ooh.
Oh, Master connects and yeah.
Wow. Beast jumps. Gets shot for it. So now we're starting out on grass panels, and this is actually an opportunity. He's got Timpani right there. He can actually start establishing charge beast right away.
Yeah.
Erased.
Although we do have cubes on the field, which makes it more likely that I would go for Dustcross, which means that I'm more likely to take his Timpani.
Wolfie making those reads already.
Yeah, so he went into a race to try to threaten that as well, so let's see how that plays out. Don't forget that back B is more difficult to use in Beast Out because...
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
It's like one frame, I think.
Yeah. Fast gauge coming out. Ooh, wind drag!
No. Oh, that is very unfortunate.
And second cube does connect. And now Metal Wolf is already very behind on HP.
He lost a lot of momentum with that one. He lost his erase cross already. He's taken some solid damage. Just Beast is still there. And actually, in your case, like the longer you stay in dust, the more you dig through your own folder.
And we can see Metal Wolf's hand isn't ideal either. He has 1 recovery, 300 life or and sanctuary, so all different codes, so he can't really go through his folder either.
You also gotta get rid of that trap. Yeah, and that's kind of unfortunate that he has to man SP with that.
That's 480 damage I think lost.
Oh no. Wow. The beast jump was completely behind him. It's a funny interaction.
The extended beast jump. Ooh, but we see that Q-Force and plus 30, so that gives it plus 60 in total and paralyzes. If this connects, that will be massive damage that could bring the game back.
Yeah, that's actually enough to reverse it. It's unfortunate that his erase piece is gone because Colonel Force does benefit from the HP bug that comes with that, and that would definitely allow him to make a better long-term impact in terms of the game.
Ooh, Judgments.
Oh no.
See that Q-Force's defense going to come out in time. Elements Man coming out. Oh, freeze.
That was rude.
And another Elements Man SP coming out for the second freeze as well. And then
that was
Buster Shot finishing off the game.
Oh man, that was Sheesh, like didn't even give them a chance to come out all the way. He just froze
Yeah.
them twice and finished it.
Yeah, so that was funny because I remember I had few options. I had anti-damage and invis to play it safe, but then I decided to go for the most greedy play to happen, and all of that
Because
happened
that's
before.
on your end too. Like you had to make sure that you got the right
Yeah,
element man. Like the first one's easy to, but SP is not the easiest of time. Like especially online. So
yeah,
making sure that you got those two freezes together is like crazy timing.
yeah. So when I was just watching that match, I forgot that this happened. So I was thinking, oh, was that a mistake? Did I mean to go look there because that breaks panels, which reduces Q force? But no, just going all in.
Man, let's I know next up we have Symes versus Cielael.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of double Giga, looking at this, like you see Symes doing the exact same thing. He went for the Giga +1 play, but this time he's going for Kernel Force, but he's using Bug Rise Sword.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. And the other part about that is interesting is that he's not really using any method to dig for Bug Rise Sword. There's no chip shuffle in here. You have a custom one, but there's no like folder pack or anything. It's just he's got Bug Rise Sword as like supplemental damage.
Yeah, so I think with the way his nav cost would have to work, if he wants to put Giga +1, then it's, I think, maybe impossible even to fit chip shuffle and very difficult to try to add in any more cost. He already has float shoes to try to deny being locked in broken panels, especially as Bug Rise Sword, because it very much relies on that.
Yeah, and it's funny, this is like maybe one of the use cases where I might consider uninstall if I was running Bug Rise Sword, if only because having that, even if you're fighting a Falter player, for example, and you're flinching them each time, I think that does add up. But also being able to curtail movement. But either way, this setup is like very area heavy, 5 area grabs, taking advantage of that for sure. And in this case, he is running float shoes. So that's an interesting choice, and that does protect against certain things like poison, crack panels don't disappear when you step on them. Actually, don't step on ice either, so a very good option just in terms of being able to stay mobile in this format.
And we do see a few B-code chip splashes, so it does have Protoman SP, Blastman SP, a Machine Gun 3, and Risky Honey Grab Revenge, though I don't think he has double points, so no B-banish.
Yeah, this is a more like a brute force kind of thing, because even he's got attack +30 like Wolfie had, but he's also got the Gundo Soul 3, and that adds up a lot in terms of how much damage you can get from like, that one interaction where you just pretty much unload like your entire hand on them, and they take over 1,000. And if you've ever been on the receiving end of that, it's very salt-inducing. So it's the most fun in the world. But
especially with the 5 area grabs, so I believe Wolfie was running 2 area grabs, whereas Symes is going with all 5, so you can very easily try to get maximum area.
Yeah, he wants to capitalize on not just what he can do with Kernel Force, but actually with Bug Rise Sword too, like having that area control, and you can just keep like chopping away at your HP over the entire game. And he is running a slow gauge too, so he wants to make sure that he's getting like maximum value out of that. And even with that, moving on to Cielael setup, like there's no gauge control on his side. So once that slow gauge goes up, it's going to be Symes' playground in a sense in terms of what he's doing.
Yeah, though I have to say, Cielael is running a code that you really don't see that often with encode. Even though it does have few decent options. So we can see here 2 elixirs, we can see number ball which can do a lot of damage, air hockey which is tagged with a white capsule, and rolling globe which with tomahawk can be, I think, up to 300-400 damage.
Yeah, it's actually interesting you see that, because rolling log is not seen almost ever, but it's not bad. Like actually pretty much all the wood chips in this game are good. So to some extent, and again, like you said, with Tomahawk, you can charge it for double damage. It's not really avoidable unless there's holes in the field. So it's something to keep in mind just with what you can do with that. And like you said, not seen often. You've also got air hockey, which is, I think, if it's beast jump, it's definitely a sight to behold. Elixir is solid as always, near reliable, but you even see some things you don't see normally. Like you don't see it Assassin Sword too often.
Yeah.
That's a super solid option in this case. Number Ball too. You never see that, but they're not bad either. Like it's with the right HP numbers on you, that can definitely add up. I believe it's 4 in this game.
I think it's
4 or
between
5.
4 or 5, yeah.
And you got that, a little bit of area control on his side. You do have an element trap, which I do think that can be useful in this format too, because there's so much beast charge stuff being thrown around that having that can definitely make a difference. And he's going for Meteor Knuckle as his Giga, so.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense
Also
with
on
Encode. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're looking at his Navicus. We do see, actually, it's not that unusual as a Navicus. We see that run commonly in normal BN, but it has few good features. High custom, I believe custom 2, beat, and first barrier.
Yeah, he's going for kind of actually both of them are going for like a no bug setup, which is pretty interesting. And you can do that when you have the real estate that this format gives you.
Yeah.
But yeah, very chunky on Cielael side. You got the 400 and 500 stacked up there. Custom, first barrier, which makes me think that he's going for dust digging on the first turn. Probably wants to just get rid of rush if the opponent has it, but also just keeping dust cross around as long as possible. But also he's running beat, which I do like. I think that's a very strong option. And Symes has to watch out for that because you can't TFC Chrono Force. If you use that first, it's gone.
And a lot of the navis that Symes has are really strong, so he doesn't really want to throw them into beat. So he has Protoman SP, Blast SP, Element Man, Race, and Judgment. So I think, as surprising as that sounds, Judgment might be the most likely to go into beat.
That's not surprising. I can see that or Element Man possibly going first.
All right, well, let's head into the match, see how it goes. The thing I'm looking forward to the most is seeing if Neovari can connect. It's actually my favorite chip, so hopefully Cielael will be able to get that.
Yeah, it's very versatile too, because even if you're not doing the double life, the Sonic Boom alone is very, very useful. It goes through anything and can take out a lot of different things.
Yeah. And Cielael does have 2 white capsules, so that can be a very easy way to confirm the cross slash, which does double damage, and although it does do flashing, it's still basically a very easy way to confirm that.
Yeah, and that's very solid damage. So Symes is going for the charge play. He wants to up his custom a little bit, but also kind of take control that way.
And yeah, as you expected, we see dust. Though that first barrier didn't really last for that long.
Immediately goes for the beast charge.
Oh yeah, Judgment going into beat.
Yeah, that blast move will take care of the aura early, so that's turn 1 life aura that's gone.
Yeah, so turn 1 life aura is actually interesting because sometimes you can use that to deny your opponent from doing anything, but other times it just goes straight away.
Ooh, and the slow gauge is here already, so this Symes is immediately going to be able to start bullying Cielael with this. And if he stays in Dust Cross, one of those arrows is going to hit for double damage on the D-Cross. That's going to be very nasty. Yeah, Cielael definitely taking time to dig through this folder and kind of get those encode combos set up correctly.
And Cielael does have 3 wind racks as well, so the race might not be very easily protected depending on the hand that Cielael has. It's slow gauge coming out. And anti-damage, okay. Ooh, nice assassin sword.
Assassin sword.
And ooh, that D-cross, yeah.
It's gonna charge him.
Second chip charge. See that wind rack, and it does connect.
Yeah, Cielael's leading off of this. So one thing that I don't think gets talked about enough, in my opinion, in a lot of the kind of meta discussions, is how useful HP buffs are. With a race beast, you kind of establish level 2 HP bug on hit, and the more knockback you take, the more those bugs stack up. Ooh, that's...
yeah. That really hurts.
That hurt. That was...
No, chip charging.
Take another one.
Gundam Soul. You should have plenty of time to chip charge it, yeah. Bringing down Cielael to 20 HP. Ooh, that's really rough so far.
Slow gauge in this format, especially with a Gregor player, can be it's very destructive. If Cielael's defense is on up at the right moment, you can take a lot of damage. Oh no!
Ah!
He's messing with you,
Denying. Symes should have just let that happen. Denying the even from coming out. Okay, now
let's see if Cielael can make any adjustments after that. Symes being very, very aggressive just in terms of his approach with Gregor. Immediately going for raw damage. You've got the tail arrows that were set up, so it's very scary for you to deal with, especially when you're running Dust Cross like that. So the beat's gonna take that chip again. The bees are ready to go.
Ooh, nice. Ooh, that's some sort of value, yeah.
Yeah, Assassin Sword, you get a lot of benefits. Ooh, right into all the bees.
Max damage bees.
This is like the second time that these guys slow gauge on turn 2. And yeah, Symes is looking to just go for it here.
Yeah, the slow gauge is really giving a lot of value to Symes. Even though it's not even tagged, which is surprising. Though I guess that helps him get Bug-Rise Sword earlier.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Even though Symes can't dig through his folder, he can just beast charge his way through it and kind of burn through those, and eventually the right chips that he wants will show up as well. So it's a folder that allows him to really take advantage of Gregor's strengths and dominate using it.
Ooh, air hockey.
The air hockey's out.
Unfortunately, it doesn't do much because beast jumping. Ooh!
Oh no! That's almost hit.
Yeah. Ooh, nice!
Ooh, dodges the tail arrow.
See if another dodge happens. Symes waiting out and yeah, it connects into a Judgment as well.
Ooh, and that paralysis is also going to speed the HP bug up. Symes, looks like Symes is trying to close this out with the Elect Beast, just paralyze and go for that.
Actually, I'm surprised he didn't go for at least one of his machine guns, because that moves through the hand. Ooh. Oh yeah, he did, okay. And we see Cielael went into Tengu, which is... Oh, nice!
That was some solid damage.
Yeah.
Okay, and it is 4.
That connects, and now Protoman will come out. Ooh!
Knuckles are out.
Oh! Yeah. Okay, yeah, so that was TFC into the Invis. I thought, well, shouldn't that Invis have worked? But
yeah, that's what I was thinking. But
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's a very dominating round using Gregor. So I'm actually surprised to see as many Gregor representation as we have. So I was expecting Vulture to kind of be the more popular pick, but Symes showing that Gregor is still definitely no slouch in this format as well.
Yeah, so though I do think we did get less Gregor players compared to Falzar, but I think there's always a lot that goes into this, like the players that are joining, if they prefer Falz or Gregor, or the builds people are going for.
Yeah, both versions are very effective. It's just a matter of knowing what the strengths and weaknesses are of each and how you can kind of use that, and also what complements your own play style too.
But yeah, well played to both sides. Let's head into the next match with playerzero vs Duke Virillion.
Okay, so let's take a look at Duke's setup here. He's going for mostly B code with a little bit of O splash. First thing I noticed is that he is running a Guardian, which is very interesting. You don't see Guardian used, like you'll see Guardians in matches, you know, on the field already, but it's rare that you'll see someone have a Guardian intentionally that they plan to put down themselves, because you've got things like SoulXCross that can easily take advantage of that. But it'll be interesting to see how he plans to use that. Actually, speaking of Gregor, Duke is running a Gregor as well, but
yeah,
he's running a setup that's very much built around just, he has max attack, he's got rush, undershirt, but then it's all HP. It's 500, 500, 350, so he's making this setup as chunky as possible.
Yeah, and he does have recovery 300 as well, so has a lot of utility, a lot of ammunition for chip charging as well, as we mentioned before with Meta Wolfie. He has a very high number of null element chips, so he can chip charge those. And so you mentioned Guardian before, but I think from talking to Virillion, he said that it's to help interrupt beast jumps, but also a good defensive option. Yeah, because it can basically force the opponent to take 200 damage if they want to do any bustering or use their chip charges.
Yeah, that's a good point. With beast jump, they can't step immediately in front of you. Now, there are certain things that will still hit you, like pulses or whatnot, but having that option is a very interesting choice just in terms of physically blocking someone. Even thinking about it now, it makes me wonder if anybody had considered using something like Rock Cube, which would then enable you to stand behind it and kind of chill while you do whatever. But you don't see that ship used much either, so it's cool to see obstacles kind of having a spot in this format. The one thing I do notice off the bat too is, so you've got fast gauge rigged and he's got slow gauge rigged. So it's kind of a matter of whoever pops their gauge first loses. Like that momentum swing is huge.
Yeah, so just to briefly explain how that works. Basically, when using a gauge chip, the one used at the end is the one that has the lasting effect. So if we have fast gauge then slow gauge, the result will be with slow gauge. And since we both have one, then the person that uses their gauge first is going to lose the so-called gauge war.
Right, and gauge momentum is huge in this game because depending on what your strategy is, you want to make sure you either have more time on the field to land what you want, or less time on the field to kind of cycle through your folder faster. So you want to make sure that your gauge is going the way you want it, and that's why a lot of players choose to they'll use two gauges just to make sure that if one gets shut off, the other one still gets use. So.
Alright, well, let's head into the match, see how it turns out. And yeah, as we can see there, that huge HP. We'll see if how that ends up playing and affecting this match.
Yeah, so this is from your perspective this time.
Yeah.
Mirror Monster turn 1. Of course, you can't use that, unfortunately, but you do have a pretty good beast jump combo set up right out the gate.
Ooh, and
you got a pulse into wind rack into Elixir, which is it's going to hurt a lot and also going to just prevent him from really doing anything while that's going on.
Yeah, also D-Cross, Race Cross if Virillion decided to go with that, but looks like he doesn't.
So Duke goes off no gloss, which is an interesting choice. Ooh, that's gonna be 200 off the element.
When that combo coming out along Element Man, and it does connect on grass, getting 2x damage.
That's gonna hurt a lot. But you're kind of looking at your buster thinking, I can't fire in certain positions anymore because the Guardian's right there.
Yeah, I think I was trying to do back B there, but it wasn't quite working as well as I'd hoped.
Yeah, and like you said, that's one frame, so it's not easy to pull off. What's very interesting where that Guardian is, so you could use Tengu Man in the future to use Aura, even with the Guardian in that one position.
Yeah. Actually, would Reflect work against Guardian? I don't think it does.
I think I want to say it goes through shields, but I haven't tested that.
Though I guess Beast does cross Beast chip charge.
Yeah, you can.
Works, yeah,
you could Beast charge and you'd be off the field entirely.
It's
really interesting just in the fact that he's not going with any of his crosses. Just pure normal Beast. And with the normal Beast, when you have attack max, that's, I believe, 100 per slash.
Yeah.
So it's not bad damage by any means, just not, at least for Gregor, it shows in comparison to what you do have in terms of Beast charges. Speaking of, he goes into a race Beast immediately.
Ooh, and he has his own life aura. So let's see if this just survives. Ah. Gets clipped in the end. Second one, and yeah.
Ouch.
Getting decrossed.
It's crazy how a race Beast is so menacing if it's standing there. It's not moving, but you know it's charging something. And even as a mind game, when you're playing as a race Beast, you kind of just choose not to fire your buster and make your opponent think that you are charging something. And that's a very scary thing because you're forcing them to move around a lot. They don't want to get hit.
And also works the other way around, because your opponent, if they see you in a race, they're less likely to use their defense. So maybe if you start bustering, make it look like you don't have any chips, then they use something like anti-damage or invis, you can try to bait them into losing that.
Yeah, the mind games that come with this are crazy. So you are going to have, so there's a smart play here. You have, going to take off the aura with the Tengu Cross, and then it allows you to get rid of a race. But that back B is not easy to pull off.
Yeah, it's not happening at all, and that wood rack missing.
That's unfortunate. That base comedy is going to lift too.
Yeah. And then it works.
Now it comes out.
A bit too late.
Yeah, at least it's off and you've got the opportunity to do some things now, but yeah, that's not an easy feat at all.
Yeah, and especially against the high HP that Virillion has, losing out on 640 damage can be very bad.
Yeah, because Gregor, I mean, again, faults are, your damage is coming from your chip, so you want to make sure that you preserve those as best as you can.
Alright, let's see if this combo connects into the next turn. We have, I think I took a good number of Beast Jump combos.
Yeah, and to answer Purity the Cat's comment about the back B, so the back B leniency window is based upon the speed of your buster. So because it's so fast and Beast, it's like a 1 frame window where you can actually pull it off. Ooh. Oh, Rush is gonna come out.
Yep, but this actually half the damage of that machine gun and Elixir, so they didn't do as much.
Yeah, so Element Man is gonna be the easy solution here. That will get rid of the holy panels, but also even decross select in this situation. I see you've also got the Super Vulcan on deck, so that's also an option. Actually, the Super Vulcan's an option, and you've also got Miramasa.
Yeah, it looks like I'm going for Super Vulcan there, with the Raceman to try to confirm that. We've already seen Life Aura coming out from Virillion. Ooh.
Yeah, you didn't want to TFC that because you wanted to keep your.
Now let's see if this erasement connects. If it connects, then it can bring the game a bit closer. Ooh, nice.
Confirm.
So that's 720 damage in total, which does make it only 500 HP difference though. Ooh, that machine gun.
This is a very scary position. But it's not over yet because you've got Miramasa there.
Yeah.
You can confirm off that check, man.
That being said, Virillion still has his Q-Force, which is his most damaging chip, so that, and I don't have any immediate defense for it, so that could very easily finish off the game.
Yeah, with the grass panels too, that's a threat if he decides to go for anything fire related too.
So a lot of thinking happening. Looks like I will be going with fast gauge because we still haven't seen slow gauge coming out from Virillion, and if I can connect one of my combos that I can take into this turn, then that could be very big.
Yeah, we know Virillion has his own slow gauge on deck, but has momentum shift, so that's an option.
Ooh. Q-Force does come out, and yeah, unfortunately,
there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, the reflector was used a bit too early to preemptively maybe block something like Element Man, but unfortunately it didn't do anything.
That's the downside about reflector. Unlike a shield, you kind of have to know when to use it because it's gone after one use. So in some ways it's almost kind of a guess unless you're dodging something you can see.
Game 2 we see that that
immediate decross.
Immediate decross. Unfortunately that life order didn't come out quite in time.
Those rock cubes are really doing the job. Oh! It's really anti-damage. Manages to slip in between the rock cube and him.
Yeah. And I think it might have been the collision that removed it, but regardless, that's anti-damage gone.
Yeah, still holding on to that fast gauge just in case Duke decides to use his own, but has access to these good beast combos here. Ooh, and that I actually like that because that prevents that cuts off some of Duke's own movement. Ooh, and I think it's gonna block it.
Actually, I believe. Yeah.
Is that gonna stay up long enough to block it?
I'm not really sure, but I think the way that reflector works is that it doesn't protect the barrier. So if that connects, then life aura is going to go either way. So.
Yeah, that is still the reflector damage itself will still be a thing, which is good.
Yeah. 200 damage is nothing.
That might be a counter hit too. I don't know if the counter frames are that early or later, but.
Yeah, so you can see here I'm thinking about if I go into spouts, maybe I can chip charge, anti-damage to interrupt him. I do have few options, as you mentioned, to try to counter hit. I think Elements Man maybe to get a D-cross. Looks like that's what I decided to go with.
The aura's gone, that's not really...
Yeah.
Ooh, that's gonna take off the trap.
Ooh,
oh, wow.
the exchange. Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z moment.
Yeah, Beast Jump. That's one of the things I like about the eco that I do, is that you can have moments like that where it's just like an action game, just going all the way and jumping around, doing crazy things.
Mirror Muscle still on deck. That's always an option. You also got base anomaly there.
Yeah, I think base is probably a good option given that custom bug is starting to tick down and I don't have that many chips to take in one turn.
Yeah, custom bug doing something that you definitely want to get taken care of like ASAP, because otherwise it'll...
Okay. Recovery is coming out from Virillion, giving him 600 extra HP. Let's see. Ooh, and it does connect.
Full damage. Yeah, it's a solid 640 coming out of that.
And now we see that in hand I do have both Muramasa and Super Vulcan, but also some Beast Jump combos if I decide to go with either of those. So this could be a very explosive turn either way. It looks like Muramasa is the one I'm going for.
Yeah, that's a very solid combo. Beast jumping, and the push will also just kind of move up a little bit.
Think about going to Tengu or Tomahawk, but then these are still risky because I believe Virillion still has his Blastman and Protoman.
Ooh, Life Aura is up.
And
thankfully you do have that winter rack up, but the trap is there too. That prevents you from...
yeah, so unfortunately that Muramasa will have to miss on a trap, which is unfortunate. Ooh, Raceman coming out as well. Ooh!
So that wasn't anti-damage.
Yeah, I think that was an element trap. I think Virillion was running one element trap, yeah.
It was smart on your part to make sure that you didn't use that. Now you've got kind of got the information, but you also got the power damage on that as well.
Yeah, I mean...
element trap or something, you know, not to...
yeah. I think in that situation, worst case scenario is to just remove the anti-damage. So might as well just use that to help into next turn.
One thing I did notice is that you chose to kind of not go with the machine gun first for this turn.
I think he was still flashing. I'm not sure I remember why. But
yeah, that's a solid trade.
There it goes, and that fast gauge prevents Virillion from really doing much that turn. But now he has the option of using his own slow gauge, which is rigged, so he still has it in hand unless he chip charges.
But you also, I know near you've got winter rack for the D-cross option, and you kind of in a position where you can close this out. The slow gauge is up. I like the use of electricity cutting off his own movement.
Yeah, so now that confirms this erase man because Virillion doesn't have air shoes, which is basically wind rack into Super Vulcan to finish off the game.
Ooh. Yeah, beast jumping is just so like stay in your face and do it.
I mean, if Virillion had more HP, then that was actually risky because him stepping forward would have caused collision, which would have allowed him to avoid that Super Vulcan, but he had 1 HP in that situation either way, so he wouldn't have survived.
Yeah, and again, thankfully with you kind of cutting the movement off with Element, that made sure that you couldn't do that.
Now starting with another cubes field, but this time we have ice panels, and ice panels have an interesting interaction with drag applying chips. Are you familiar with that?
I'm sorry, say that again?
So, ice panels and things like elect pulse, so any chip that applies drag.
Okay, so like using, I know Mars did something like that
Yeah.
last cycle. He had a setup where he set up ice panels and kind of dragged certain things that way, and it wasn't the easiest thing to set up, but if you did get hit with that, it was very testy.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically adding about extra 100 or 70 depending on how it plays out, but it's an interesting interaction. Basically what happens is that Elect Pulse applies drag, which pulls the opponent to you, and on ice panels, instead of pulling the opponent one panel, it pulls them until the end. So if you have something like anti-damage, or as we see here, maybe a reflector, that will stop you from flashing, which means that will apply multiple hits on the opponent, with each being 10 damage. So in total that gives about 70 or something extra damage, which isn't really much. It's more of a gimmicky play, but let's see if it works.
Ooh, steps out of the way. Those ice cubes are very much a thing too.
Oh, unfortunately, in this situation it didn't really do much, and the invis.
I agree with that. Just in terms of.
Ooh, that was really unfortunate. But then, because of these ice panels, was trying to center himself, but unfortunately ended up missing.
Yeah, one thing I do like seeing is I know Element Man usually will go for fire for the quick damage. They'll go for wood for the panel changes and ice just for freezing. But I think electric is really strong if you can land it, because it does offer that its own way of field control.
Yeah.
You are putting in 3 holes in their panel, in their field. They don't have shoes on that can add up.
Oh,
You're forcing them to use panel return here.
Ooh, Q-Force comes out.
Hit.
Yeah, but then there's still a lot of damage coming out from Q-Force, but that Beast Jump helps protect against a bit of it.
Ooh!
And the D-Cross.
Oh, wow, that's unfortunate. Yeah, those cubes are breaking out there.
Yeah. That was actually... That exchange the damage with Virillion's chip chart, because that also deals 400 damage. Actually,
you've got.
Yeah, go
this is a pretty this is a pretty nasty turn coming up, just in terms of you got your beast jump combo.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's still in normal gauge, which makes it a lot weaker than what would have been.
Yeah, and one thing I do see people doing more often, especially in beast format, is they're using their drag effects like Pulse 2 to interrupt charge shots.
Yeah.
You can do it if somebody's playing DDT, you can stop them, but also if they're beast charging, you can stop them as well. And combined with something like fast gauge, like you can prevent them from doing anything.
That life art.
Yeah, it's gonna take off the aura, but the trap is still there.
That was really unfortunate, TFC. Now Invis coming out, and with almost the same HP. See how this next tank plays out.
Yeah, looking at what you have here, you can confirm a couple of things. So if you've got Judgment, that will let you confirm Super Vulcan. You can even use the Wonder for that too. But even like you have a Miramasa in your folder still, and that's another thing that can be confirmed for massive damage.
I think
very much in a position where you could close this out in the next couple of turns. Of course, depending on what Duke does as well. Charge well. Ooh, the recoveries.
At least one of them comes out. Let's see what else he has. Oh, that's unfortunate. Judgment missing there. Let's see the anti-damage. Yeah, so that was good movement from Prix, trying to avoid something like this from coming up. Now we see that Guardian's on the field.
Yeah, and as a general tip in this game, I know one thing I heard, I think it was Disco specifically, when you're playing Battle Network, you want to make sure that you're always moving, because there's stuff like that that's going to be aimed at you.
Yeah.
Navy ships, things that are trying to target you, and if you're always moving around, you're kind of in a position where you're not getting hit as much. Whereas if you're just standing there, like you don't want to eat Judge Man, for example, and get confirmed with something, or even that Super Vulcan. Like, since it wasn't confirmed and he was moving, it was like very tough for you to land that.
Yeah.
That Guardian's interesting, because that's really anything you have right now is like, you're gonna take 200 just from hitting that.
But I do have an anti-damage up, so at least that will do something if I'm unable to do the back B. Let's see. Okay, ooh, that did work. Commencement from guys. Okay, going forward to deal with that anti-dam. Ooh, that was Element Trap. Never mind.
Thankfully, you were protected, so you... Oh! Wow.
Base anomaly coming out. Yeah.
That's a very cool frame, actually.
And now,
actually, I don't know, do any of the beast charges have lockouts? I know certain chips do.
I don't think any of them do. I remember someone discussing that Erase could, but I think people tested it and they couldn't find it. But yeah, now looking at my hand, I only have 5 remaining chips, so I don't have that much. I will basically need to connect with that Muramasa to deal enough damage to close off this game.
Yeah, and yeah, that's... You've got that. You do have, you got a race beast, which... Oh no, he's recovering. You really gotta close this gap. I think he's going for a Q-Force right here. Oh wait, no, he already used his Q-Force. Ooh, Cielael is coming out.
Actually, that wasn't that bad, because that D-Cross allowed me to remove his anti-damage with my own anti-damage.
Yeah, the main issue here is just having a means of closing the gap.
Yeah.
I know you don't have attack pluses on... Ooh, Sentry is going to get tougher. But you can D-Crosses and rings.
And the Elements Man, let's see if he gets ice, and it does, so that's going to interrupt, so that denies, and then Muramasa ends up missing as well.
Yeah, and unfortunately, since you don't have any attack pluses, even if you had beast charges, they wouldn't be enough to really put a dent in.
Yeah, so unfortunately, there's basically nothing that can be done here, especially with Sanctuary.
So one thing that I do want to point out too is just with that last interaction, you pretty much caught him right in the startup frames of like your win rack. Because I thought it was out for a second, and like he managed to hit you like literally a frame or two before it became active, and unfortunately that just prevented that from coming out and decrossing him. So.
But yeah, that was a close match. Both sides had few mistakes here and there, but that was I mean, really fun to play through, and hopefully to watch as well.
Well played to both.
All right, let's head into our next match with Meta Wolfie vs Thiago.
All right, so looking at Thia's setup, first person this cycle to use BDT. And I'm like a big fan of using BDT myself, and I think in this format it can be very impressive because all of the things that check it aren't available in this format. Charge Cross just can't tackle. Things like Ground Cross doesn't have the Ground Cross does have Ground Beast, which is good for dealing with it, but otherwise like that doesn't deal with it anymore. He's not running Slow Gauge, which is interesting, but he's also got just different things to set up that help to kind of make it more dominant. And he's also got some A code here, Super Vulcan. He's running B. Actually, because he got B's coming out too. So this is very interesting folder. Like the more I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, so A-Code is interesting because it also has very good beast jump options, but I don't think outside of Elec Pulse, Thiago's using them that much. A-Code, I think, has Aqua Sword. You can have Elec Dragon and few other chips. Fire Hit. So it does have few options, but it looks like it's just going for that interrupting. And again, you've already mentioned most of what we can see here.
Yeah, and it's the BDT build he's running too. Like he's kind of foregoing certain things in order to stack his HP up a little higher, which I find interesting. 2 500s here, 300s. That's like an extra, like 1300 on top of what he's got already. But yeah, outside of that, like it's kind of like he's got BDT, but he's also just splashing in a couple good A options into that. I think it's really he's got the B's in one code and the grab banish in the other, so maybe he's not intending to do B banishes necessarily, but just kind of find different ways to be oppressive with it.
Yeah,
even on their own, B's are strong.
Yeah, I mean, it does have that at double point and plus 30, so.
Yeah, I think that's for the Super Vulcan, from the thing of it.
Oh yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so he wants to have a way to kind of BDT to kind of harass you, and then kind of get you to go into that burst damage from the Super Vulcan, because double point, attack 30, white capsule, like really, unless you're in Tomahawk, you can step out of it. That's gonna hurt a lot. So.
Alright, well, let's head into the match, see how this matchup turns out. And as Honor Knight is mentioning in chat just before we start, we do see that Undershirt is intentionally bugged with HP plus 300. So I think that's an interesting choice for Thiago, trying to use his Warp Step to try to get movement advantage over the opponent.
Yeah, and that can be scary. Falter already has like every shoe possible, so there's no danger of any holes blocking you. And when you have Warp Step, you can be very hard to hit, and also just when it comes to positioning your own firing shots, that can be a good asset as well. And he's got bug fix to fix that if it gets in the way too, when he wants to kind of go in the middle and line stuff up. But yeah, it's definitely jumping to the match.
Alright, here we go.
Yeah, so this is from Wolfie's perspective here. So he doesn't go for any crosses either. He actually just took the anti-damage and went with it.
Yeah, I think Thiago's also running, so 3 Elec Pulse 2, 3 Windrax, and they are tagged. So he's probably worried about being decrossed from a race, but I'm not sure why he wouldn't go into charge or even heat. Oh, I guess he was expecting full cast, which does make sense.
Yeah, I think he was expecting Thea to go with the immediate full cast play, which I don't think he's running a full cast. No, he is running one.
He is, yeah.
But he didn't go for it. But that's kind of the mind game that's gonna hurt. That's the mind game when you see somebody running just cross at the beginning. Like you think they want a full cast, and you kind of plan their turn. You plan your own turn as if they were going to, and they can kind of play that mind with not doing it either. So
yeah. So I don't think so in normal BN6 that applies even more, because Gregor wants to go into Race Beast. So you want to waste their turns by using full cast then.
Yeah, and see now he uses it, but again, in this format you can't waste the beast turns anymore. So now it's a matter of, okay, I'm wasting a turn, but I didn't stop anything.
Yeah.
And really all it does is just give Just Beast more time to dig.
Yeah, which I mean is very valuable. Dust has very big effect on momentum in a match.
And it looks like I don't know if Wolfie's thinking of going into a race just to start pressuring Dust Beast. Because especially when your opponent's running BDT, like the last thing you want to do is give them even more time to start digging. That's never good for you. That Blast Man, yeah, he can't go anywhere. He has to block it. Ooh, that's going to take off the life orb.
I think that's probably worth it. Sometimes you might want to hold on to your life aura. So against the normal Blast Man SP, I think I'd hold on to it. But in this case, that was good value.
Yeah, double one. I think the other thing too, when you're digging for something specific like BDT, like your main goal is to protect SoulXCross.
Yeah.
As long as you can actually get that. And then once you do, you don't need it as much. So he's kind of making sure that he gets that as soon as he can.
Yeah, and he also needs that bug fix that we saw him use already, because Thiago does have custom bug level 1. So it does add up over time.
He's got custom bug and again warp bug too. So yeah. Warp bug is nice, but you also want his regular movement in some cases.
Ooh, looks like Wolfie is going for Delta Ray plus 30, which is a very interesting decision. Guess he's trying to go through his folder. Ooh. Nice, he avoided that. Let's see if he's able to connect with Delta Ray though.
Yeah, he's hit.
Ooh!
Oh!
Ah, no! That's really unfortunate.
He wasted the Delta Ray. Yeah, he didn't even press all the buttons. He just said that, yeah.
Yeah, so he got it on the startup frames of Beast. That was very close. I think that might have been 5 or less frame window. Because if Bees came up, then Bees would have protected from that Delta Ray. So that was a really unfortunate miss.
Yeah, he burned through that. But it's definitely not over for Wolfie at all.
Yeah.
Lots of good fire options that can come out of Rider in general, and especially if he eats like a beast charge or something. He's got Element Man too, so he stays in coffee and sprint through that.
Though I think the Sanctuary is going to be playing a big role into this match, because they now have basically the same effective HP, unless Thiago is able to deal with that with an Element Man.
Ooh, the BBC is out.
Ooh, chip charging, the Summon Black. Ah. Ooh. Double point gets denied, so... Super Vulcan!
Oh no, he wasted the Super Vulcan.
Let's see, that does decross. Nice.
Wow. Yeah, just like that, I think Wolfie's kind of swung the match really back into his favor.
Yeah. And he still has that Sanctuary. Though for this turn he doesn't really have much again, he just has a few defensive chips that he can use and maybe chip charge, thinking about crossing out.
Yeah, and right now, again, there's nothing... Well, actually no, take it back. He does have a get in his folder, so that's something to watch out for, especially since Wolfie is not running any form of shoes.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, that's gonna go through it. Yeah,
Nice.
One hit for that.
Oh, that was close. And the Windrak missing as well.
Oh, Shift Charge is something right in his face.
And now we see that Q Force option, and then it goes into Heat Cross, so that will be able to chip charge the actually never mind.
Oh,
Windrak coming
yeah,
out.
that Chrono Force is not going to help with the field.
Yeah, still goes for it.
Yeah, Rush is there, but you can't take advantage of those positions. Yeah, one thing to note, that Ground Beast Drill Drive is completely invincible.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the better Pulsar Beast charges.
Though I don't think Thiago has attack max, so unfortunately it doesn't do quite that much damage. Now the anti-damage is confirmed, the recovery coming out at the perfect time. Nice. Moondrag to interrupt that charge. This game's getting very close, but now Wolfie unfortunately doesn't have that much. He needs to take some defense, and he wants to chip charge, maybe trying to get paralysis to interrupt Thiago.
Yeah, because he's running out of
no.
Wolfie's running out of chips, but one thing to note about BT is that you don't have to worry about running out of chips in terms of doing your main damage. So Thea can kind of play the long game here.
This isn't looking good. Okay, using ice, yeah.
But he's gonna put himself in the.
It's still trapped.
Yeah, he locked himself there.
Yeah, this game's really not going well for Wolfie, unfortunately. A few things didn't quite turn out as well as you would have wanted. Now that was different. Nice movement.
Oh no, but he got himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, BT is a very dominant option in this format. I think especially the lack of charge cross by itself really kind of like Gregor can't do a lot about BT anymore with that gun. Because normally you could kind of stalemate a BT player by charge crossing the incident and limiting him off the field that way, but that's no longer a thing here.
Yeah, and with the way that Thiago built his folder with Beast Jump, that makes it more difficult for Erase to try to pressure Dust.
Ooh, so the focus, he might waste his... I think he might want to keep his other man SP for this one.
Yeah, fortunately he tried to mash it but couldn't quite get out in time. I think the match was quite a bit laggy when they were playing, so obviously the recording method that we use doesn't show any lag, but players unfortunately still have issues with that occasionally.
Yeah, with the Visual Boy Advanced recording, the matches are played in full time or regular speed, but when you're actually playing them out, oh, it looks like he did mash it out last time.
Oh,
the 3-frame.
Yeah. Which is actually unfortunate because he probably didn't want to use that situation. Now he goes into a turn with no new chips, and that was half damage.
Yeah, and he also, because of where he was standing, I think he wanted to use electric so he could get rid of the Holy Panel.
Yeah.
But he's going to be able to blow this off at least. Yeah, I think he might want to blow this off and then go for the erase play. But anyways, he's going for regular.
And still no crosses either. Well,
yeah, and that I'm not sure if I agree with that choice. Again, the longer that Thea stays in Dust Beast, the faster he digs for BDT, and you want to like apply as much pressure to that as you can. That's what he wants to do.
Yeah, and with the hands Wolfie is getting, if we see slow gauge coming out on the field, that can be very rough from that point. Wolfie will have to play it very careful.
Although I think for this match, neither of them have slow gauge, which...
Oh yeah.
Ooh, dodge. Yeah, it's gonna confirm... Oh wait, no, he can't get paralyzed, that's right. Ooh, so that's with the race man, unfortunate.
Okay, so now Wolfie does have few Y-code chips that he could maybe try to chip charge, but he's thinking about going with that Blast Man, trying to get the punish on Tomahawk.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, but he's still not going for any crosses at all.
Yeah, I think this is way too risky. Ooh.
Oh no!
That's half damage, but now we'll probably see bees coming out. Or Super Vulcan, which is way more risky. Okay.
He did use bees, but no vanish.
to be honest, I think for that previous turn, even though Blast Man could have been 500 damage, I think going for the safer play with Heat, because Thiago doesn't have any bubbles, doesn't have anything to really threaten Heat Cross.
I do like the elect play here, just in terms of getting rid of the holy panel there.
I don't think he meant to use the area grab, unfortunately.
Oh, he used it too early. And he's literally getting smacked around right now.
No. Q-Force and plus 30 is going into Slash to try to chip charge that Mag Coil as well. This could be a very damaging turn if Thiago doesn't have anything to deal with it.
This could actually be game.
Oh no.
Oh no, that's not.
Okay. Yeah, so unfortunately if Thiago didn't end up mashing out the Mag... I mean...
more buster damage. That was an extra 100 off of the Rush. Like, Rush's values is regular. So
Gregor Beastbuster is very strong.
Because now, this is pretty much, with the positioning here, Thea can't move much, and Gregor has very wide range beast charges.
And though it's still surprising that Thiago doesn't have his Bug the Thunder, I don't really know why he crossed out of Dust. Oh, there it is, but...
Yeah, at this point, he's gonna have to really fight his way out of here. Yeah, so he whipped the Super Walk in.
I think in that position he meant to go for Elect but missed it because Elect would have confirmed it.
I'm surprised he didn't back roll that Symphony. But that's when it comes to.
But that's game.
1-1. Yeah, that BDT, it doesn't come out too late, so he didn't really get a chance to use it this time. And kind of just me looking at Thea's folder, like even though he's got BDT, he didn't really build around BDT, so it's not as oppressive. Like you mentioned, there's no bubbles here, there's no kind of slow games to help add to it. So it's more of a supplement than kind of his actual game plan. The early bug fix is going to help him knocking off that custom bug. But he loses Dust Cross early.
Yeah, this is really good confirm for Metal. That was very well played.
Yeah, I was like, please don't chip charge your life.
Yeah. I think he could have chip charged the area grab, but again, that's just...
Yeah. Actually, this is a very dominant position. He's already taken out Dust early. He's got area +1. Like right now, he can pressure a lot. I don't think Thea has a lot to kind of deal with that right now. Now, thankfully, Thea did get rid of his custom bug at least, but
yeah,
even still, that's going to be a little rough. Just actually, yeah, Thea does have custom 8, so that's he's still got a strong selection. Just, ooh, he can do the back B quickly.
So there was an interesting thing that could have happened there. If Metal Wolfie had used his fanfare and then hid behind it, he could have blocked the back Bs coming out from Thiago.
Oh, that's right, yeah, the wind is an actual projectile, but even though it's fast, that would have actually stopped it.
And since Thiago doesn't have a charge shot, as you'd see with the Tengu Cross, you can very easily try to avoid any wind that could come out.
So notice that Thea, not Thea, Meta's staying in Slash to threaten Tengu some more.
Yeah, if the Slash is able to connect, then that will be a lot of damage. 800 damage, let's see.
Ooh,
okay. barely.
He can still. I was thinking he would chip charge.
Yeah.
Aura, but he didn't.
Yeah, and someone's asking in chat they're surprised that you can avoid the wind. Another way to avoid it is actually to go into your opponent's field. So Tengu back B only affects your field, or so. Yeah, so the opponent's field. So if you go onto theirs, it wouldn't affect you.
This is interesting positioning because he has to do with this aura, and Thea is at an HP advantage. I don't think Thea hasn't popped BDT yet either, so he, I think his main damage source is not really a thing yet. Outside of that, he's only got 2 weapons. Goes into Hawk.
Ooh, might be seeing these bees especially now. Yeah. Ooh, the gets 1 hit clip, unfortunately. Ooh, nice!
Ooh, blocks all the bees. You don't usually see that, like someone dealing with every bee that comes out.
Yeah. Especially
even some of them flip. Oh, that's Oh,
I don't know about that one.
That one hurt me. Yeah, his BDT is gone, so like that's his win condition.
Yeah. So basically, if you're in a situation like that, the way to look at it is so now that invis protected Thiago from 480 damage. But that bugged the thunder. Would that be able to do more than 400, more than 500? I think the answer is easily yes. You can.
Yeah, it's limitless potential with PDT.
Basically, yeah.
You don't want to. You never want to sacrifice that. Yeah, that's like one of the worst things that can happen to you when you're running a PDT setup. Outside of like eating it. That's
yeah.
And again, Thea doesn't have attack. He's not even running up bash, so
yeah,
getting any attack 5 beast charges is out of the question too. Like I think his only real damage option in that folder was Super Vulcan. Outside of like SP Navi chips or whatnot.
And yeah, as someone in chat mentioned, Metal Wolfie was able to close the HP gap.
Yeah, and that's not anti-damage either, so this Delta Ray is... I think he should have waited.
1 hit. Yeah, I mean, it was a difficult position.
You could have actually carried that into the next turn. Now that you know your opponent isn't running anti-damage, I would just go for it as soon as you step forward.
Yeah. Getting 2 hits at least is better than the one that Metal Wolfie had.
Yeah.
Ooh, so that Geddon.
Yeah, and the Geddon's there, unless he has a Super Vulcan. Oh, that's gonna... Yeah, that's gonna...
Oh, never mind.
Oh, anti-Navi. Wow. He gets to keep his Navi chip.
Oh, and unfortunately, Elemental Man doesn't do much there.
Wolfie doesn't really do it. He's got he's kind of back to where he was. Even in this position, he has, again, he's attack 1, so these feathers aren't hurting like so much.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Nice.
This is a strong... I don't think he needs a Q push yet.
Yeah.
He's still in T-Hawk. Summon Blacks are a very strong chip on their own. And yeah, actually he can just go for
I mean, this might be the game where the turn where this match ends, even before Q4 comes out.
I don't think he needs to do. I mean, he can still. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is confirmed now, but I don't know about that.
Well, you can still close it out right now. Judgment confirmed it's a Q4, so it's like
yeah,
GG. So.
But then again, for Thiago, this could also finish off the game. Thiago still has his Super Vulcan, and Super Vulcan with White Capsule, if boosted, can be more than the 700 HP Metal he has.
Yeah, that's true. It's a matter of he has to confirm that. I don't know what his options are in terms of being able to. I think I don't know if he uses a race menu or not. He's got a racing judge that's going to confirm options.
And yeah,
speaking of a race,
that was really close.
So that was the confirm.
Ooh, and double point.
Yeah, just launch it.
Ah, no, yeah, that Q force.
That's the downside of using double point too. You're pretty much signaling to your opponent that you're going to do something. Whereas attack plus 30, you can't see it, so it's. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there might have been a very small window where Thiago would have been able to use his Super Vulcan, but yeah, that was very unfortunate at the end there.
Yeah, and again, I think this all went downhill when Thea kind of TFC'd his BDT away.
Yeah, definitely.
He really gave away his win condition, and now it was all hinging on that one Super Vulcan to kind of win the game for him. And when it missed, like that's about it. So.
But yeah, well played to both sides. That was an interesting match to look through. But now we'll be heading into our next one with playerzero vs Flop Tart.
All right, so let's Oh, good. So immediately I noticed two things. Flop Tart is the first person I've seen running uninstall, and
okay,
he's running it with, in my opinion, which is what I think is the best code in the game, which is G. He's got 3 statics, which is excellent. Yeah. Now, here's the only problem I do have. So for those who don't know, of course, the way Beast Jump works, you jump forward whenever you use a chip. I think static suffers a lot in this format because it's a lot harder to aim consistently. You're relying on Beast jumping to the right spot, and it pretty much acts like a tornado, whereas when you're not in Beast out, you can use static wherever and pretty much have that great field advantage for it. So that's kind of the rough part about this, but I do like the idea here. And he's also running BDT with this. He's got, attack plus 30, double point.
Yeah.
So I'm actually kind of wondering what he's using the double point to power up. I don't see Super Vulcan in this setup, so that's not going to be a thing.
And it's probably for one of these 3 statics, which I don't really know. I mean, with uninstall, it can be easy to keep them hitting, because even without uninstall, if your opponent has super armor, which basically everyone does, if they get hit once, they can just step forward or step back and easily avoid it.
Right. So that said, there are a few options here I do like. Bubble Wrap, I think, is an underrated defense option for sure. Now, granted, in this format, even looking at your folder, you have a lot of electricity being thrown around, so that's scary. But it can really pull its weight in a lot of cases. Looking at, so he's actually not running, because you have the 3 amigos in terms of heavy tips. You've got Judgment Element and a race. He's not running a race, but he is running Ramen SP, which is a very, very strong SP heavy chip. I think it's one of the best ones in the game in terms of its own utility. Damage is great, breaks panels, it's multi-hit, so it's kind of, you can tear through barriers with it. You can break a barrier and then you can break like an anti-damage at the same time. Also good as like a slash check too. I think this might be the first Falter versus Falter match, actually.
Oh, for the stream, yeah, that might Yeah, I think that's right. Which
he's got. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying we had more Falzar players in the tournament, so it just worked out that we still don't have any in the stream.
We've been looking at what he's running here. He's got an attack +1 to kind of pad out, but a lot of it's basically making his HP chunky, custom 2 undershirt, rush. So just kind of the good staple options here, and I think rush in particular can help a lot with this setup. So it'll be interesting to see just how he kind of decides to move forward, because he's actually got double point reg, so
yeah,
he's gonna have to find a way to dig for BDT effectively and get the most use out of it.
And few things to mention is that first of all, we don't see any bug fix coming out from them, so that warp step from super armor is going to be there and staying, which is very interesting. But I guess with beast out, you're way less punished. You can just use beast jump to get that to confirm your attacks, and especially bug the thunder.
Yeah, we'll really have to see if this is going to be like more of an asset or reliability in terms of how that warp step plays out. But I guess with that being said, let's jump into the match and see how this all unfolds. Alright, so looking at, this will be your perspective again.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see if Flop Tart opts to go into Dust Kick first just to start moving towards that.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to note too is that because you're running fast gauge and he's not running any gauges, you kind of have a momentum advantage from the start. BDT and fast gauge, they like oil and water, they don't really mix.
Yeah.
So with you establishing that pace from the get-go, I think Flop Tart is gonna be a little rough adjusting to that. Just in terms of being able to use what he wants to use. But on the other hand, he can dig to his forward faster too. I think it's just kind of when BDT is available, getting the most value out of it is gonna be rough. And again, with your folder, you've got wind racks, you've got pulses, you can stop him from charging pretty much at all times.
Yeah. That being mentioned, Windrax and Elec Pulse are actually more difficult to connect when your opponent is playing Warp Step because of the way Beast targeting works. So that could be an option that Flop Tart might have intentionally decided to go for.
That's a good point. That does allow him to move around a lot more effectively. And Beast Jump kind of being what it is too, like that could be an issue for it. So the fast gauge is taken or is smooth already. He comes out. Get rid of the trap. Yeah, I know he's running rush, so
yeah. Switch the odds. Ooh.
Okay, the immediate rush. The immediate Invis plate to trigger rush to hit the turn. And this is going to enable you to either cross cancel or kind of do what you have to do to prevent him from taking advantage of that. Because one thing I do when I see is that because you are paralyzed, even though static is not as good in this format, if you're paralyzed, that's still a very bad spot to be in if you can like uninstall you like that.
Yeah, and another thing to mention is the area that we have. So if Flop Tart uses static in the position we are, it will basically, even with Beast Jump, be forced to hit all of my area. So these area grabs can be a very vital way to try to confirm statics.
Yeah, and he has 3 in his folder, so there's a very good chance that he's sitting on one now.
And 5 Windrax as well, so I'll probably be missing on area for most of this match. Especially with the single judgment. I
don't think your folder had a lot in terms of area control necessarily.
Yeah, just a single judgment to regain my area. No grab, banish, or revenge, no area grabs.
Oh yeah, so this could be very rough. If Flop Tart's running 5 area grabs, so
yeah.
Ooh, the grab. Ooh, Life Orb is gonna protect you.
I think that Groundman had a +30, so that was interesting.
Well, the pacing in this game so far is still very much on your side in terms of just being able to go through your folder as quickly as possible.
And then we see my bug fix coming out, so that will help protect me from custom bug. And it looks like I'm thinking about taking that machine gun, trying to get a D-cross. D-cross can be very important here in denying Bug the Thunder.
Yeah, you're getting as much of an early D-cross as you can as Dust Cross user is super important. Bug fixes out. Oh, that's gonna... That was an anti-nav. Ooh, that's... Yeah, look at that. See, look at that warp bug interaction. It would have worked behind you, even though you're beat jumping onto his field. And just like that, he's pretty much trapped you here. His aura's up. Because you have ways to build it off, because you've already used your one option for area control. Yeah, he's pretty much allowed to stay in your face the entire time.
And fast gauge makes that stronger as well, because panels have some timer to expire, so even though Flop Tart will be holding forward to prevent them from expiring naturally, if I push them away, then it would go on its own. But because fast gauge, then basically more turns can go while still allowing Flop Tart to have maximum area.
Keep in mind that Flop Tart is running 5 wind racks, so he can harass you in the corner here. There's not much you can do about it. And on that note, if he fires off any EDTs, that also can't really... Oh, wow, that jump to anti-damage stopped the static from hitting you entirely. That is nuts.
That's one of the things I tried to go with for this folder, but unfortunately it doesn't really work often at all. So the way that works is that anti-damage, basically as long as you have anti-damage up, then it doesn't activate until you go back into your initial position. So using things that can give you beast jump will allow you to extend the anti-damage.
That base anomaly is going to hit with full damage.
You see that static, but we'll connect regardless.
Kind of hate to see those statics just go to the toilet like that. That's the second one.
One of them could have had the uninstall, yeah.
Right, I was wondering if either this one or the last one had an uninstall attached to it. And of course, it kind of sucks when your uninstall gets eaten up by something like that, especially when you really could benefit from it. Warp Step is so nuts. Like look how far he was able to move at the beginning.
Ooh, but that bubble wrap.
It's gone. Wow, you were in a space so long that both boomerangs were able to cycle around and you just completely dodged it.
Alright, now we're going to game 2. Unfortunately, that game 1, Flop Tart wasn't able to get their Bug the Thunder, which made it very difficult to them to try to apply constant pressure, even though they did have that maximum area for all of that game.
Yeah, and outside of BDT, there's not... Looking at the board, there's not a lot that Flop Tart has to kind of capitalize on just you having that area gone. Yeah, BDT wasn't up either, so you couldn't even get those off. So one of you is going to have to go for the dust suction here. Ooh, well. Ooh, that is very unfortunate. Especially for a BDT.
Back B, unfortunately misses
both Qs missed. Yeah, and already he's like moving himself into your area. I don't think he's running any machine. Actually, he has no erase man. I don't think he has a single thing in his folder that can get rid of Dust Cross.
Yeah.
Actually, looking at it now, he doesn't. So yeah, your dust cross is. You can stay dust the entire game here. He can't pressure you unless you anti-navigate yourself. But you've already used your erase man, so yeah, you're allowed to kind of do whatever you want folder-wise for this round, really.
Now the HP gap is also really starting to build up, especially with Flop Tart losing out on dust, so they don't really have that much of a way to start pushing back.
Yeah, this is a very unfortunate situation for Flop Tart. I don't know what else he can do. He's gonna have to get a good DT today. Ooh, the static. Barely avoids the machine gun.
Yeah, what we saw there with the ice panels, that was the drag combo that I talked about in a previous match. Where if your opponent is on ice, you can drag them onto you and then they'll get hit by extra damage.
Yeah, this is something that he can actually take advantage of. But even right now, yeah, the way these rounds are kind of just swinging. Ooh, so the win rack, and okay, life or after the win rack, now that you know it's been used this turn already. Although he does have a lot more of those. Yeah, Rush is going to take care of that. Yeah, maybe we'll just put that up. Yeah, because your dust beast won't reach from that where you're standing right now.
It could have been used as defensive option, but then it basically just lets your opponent know when you're back on the ground when they can hit you for free. So it's not always.
Yeah, and in your
perfect.
case, there's not much to really watch out for. Again, he can't decross you, so you're outside of taking raw damage. You're not under any danger of like losing your best asset right now, which is just dust cross, being able to dig. So Judgment. Ooh, that was wow. That was disrespectful.
Yeah, so now.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, on one hand, Judgment was like their one ticket to getting any area back.
Yeah.
But then in your case, you're thinking, oh, I don't need that. I'll just take this raw damage that base gives out.
Yeah, I mean, especially with how low Flop Tart's HP is, then that's probably worth it. There's about 1000 HP difference, so it's going to be very difficult, especially with me still having a lot of my high damaging chip.
I'm looking at Renegade Gambler Aces saying that this is what happens when you don't invite a race into the party. And yeah, when you're planning out your Navi chips, like unless you're doing something very specific, having Eraseman, Judgment, and Unman are like,
yeah,
you want those three in your folder, like always. They're that indispensable.
And
even with how good Dust is.
Yeah, even outside of these three, you always want to have 5 Navis, because then you can stop beats, you can basically most Navis are better than any standard chip in your folder.
Right.
Or at least one of the standard chips in your folder, so you could almost all the time justify it.
Yeah, there's just certain things that you want to have. Yeah, using as many Navis as you can. The BDC comes out. Ooh. Yeah, that is the benefit of him having all the area. That BDT is like you can't dodge it like at all. Yeah, positioning. But we have enough HP right now to kind of sponge our way through that. And even right now, you have the options to cross out. It's just a matter of whether you want to do that or not. Because right now, again, you've got fast gauge, so he gets maybe 1 to 2 shard shots off at the most.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so were you going for fire, or was that block?
I think I meant the block there.
Okay. You got that a while back, that makes sense. Actually, that's pretty ingenious. Being able to cut off Grumman's movement so he can't get over there. Like Oh look, the road's closed.
Yeah.
He does get the uninstall off, which is nice. WinRack uninstall, solid option. He just needs a way to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it will do that much at this point in the game. Because Bug the Thunder paralyzes already, so... And I don't have any area. Ooh.
Yes, he gets the cross here. Okay, you get to break the trap.
And now another trap
goes up.
Yeah. So let's see if...
Oh, you did too early.
A bit too early, and now the last chip is Elixir, so this is going to be very rough and trying to deal that final 190 damage.
Oh.
And life
That is...
So now Bug the Thunder is basically confirmed. There is nothing that can be done about it, and this HP gap is going to be very quickly going down. We're still in turn 11, so there is few turns to go.
Oh, he loses... Oh man, another trap goes up.
Ooh, and they dodge the first back B, but the second one does the job, removes that life aura.
This is... Yeah, because even though you have an HP lead, you just don't have any more chips outside of that.
Ooh, double point. To grab it right now, okay. Doing a bit of damage. Then area grab, and area grab. Okay, looks like that's the play.
Get back in the corner. Oh no, but he's bleeding.
Ooh.
So he...
The cross cancel denying the anti-damage from connecting, but the HP bug is really starting to stack up. Turn 14, Bug the Thunder coming out.
This is something you don't see often. HP bug.
Ooh,
wow. So yeah, HP bug. The more that you kind of paralyze him or stun him, the bigger it gets. And at the rate it was going, it's almost as if he was poisoned.
Yeah,
he was losing so much HP that even though he was in a position where he could have actually won that, the HP bug took him out.
Yeah, so the way this HP bug works is that if you have bugged HP, so it's divided into two parts. There is normal HP bug and there is something called battle HP bug. Normal HP bug is up to a maximum of 3, and that's the one that happens because of your Navicast. Whereas battle HP bug happens if you have a bugged build, so you need to have normal HP bug, and then your opponent flinches you or applies drag. So my folder had a lot of drag, so that's where it was stacking up, and I believe it goes up to 4 extra levels, which means makes it level 7 total.
Yeah, it starts at I know in terms of inflicting the bug, like either from the customizer or from certain things, it starts off at like, what is it, 1, 2, or 3 depending. But again, as you continue to stun and apply drag,
Yeah,
like that goes from 1 to 3, and you can start pushing that into like 6, 7, where you start bleeding very quickly.
yeah,
And actually, when you combine that with things like poison, like you get a lot of passive damage over time with that, and that's very scary.
I think at maximum level, this HP bug is the same as the HP bug from Anubis. So
yeah, it's
that
pretty
strong.
close.
Yeah,
it's almost like 1 per second, or it gets like close to that, or like 1 for every certain amount of frames. Matter of fact,
I think it's 1 per 6 frames for max HP bug.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at I'm looking at this now. Level 7 is the highest, and it's 1 HP for every 10 frames, which is pretty high.
Yeah,
but you can actually stack that with poison to drop your HP even further, and that's not a place that you want to be in.
But yeah, that was a really close match. I mean, one thing going differently in that match could have very easily changed the outcome. That was down to the wire.
Yeah, that could have been actually you could have won that second round had the HP bug not taken over like that. But definitely well played to both.
Alright, let's head into our second to last match, which is going to be Meta Wolfie vs Symes.
So that last match was the first Falter match, and now this is the first Gregor match. This is like two dogs just barking at each other all day. But this is, so again, both running double Giga here. Both Curl and Force. One's going for Buck Rise Sword and one's going for Delta Ray. So it'll be interesting to just see how this matchup plays out. If I'm not mistaken, is either one of them running a... Yeah, Symes is running a slow gauge and Meta Wolfie isn't. So I think Symes popping his slow gauge is going to help Wolfie out by proxy. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out in terms of who can kind of get the momentum going first.
Yeah, so I think just briefly is that the plus area that Symes is going to be able to use might actually work well for Delta Ray, because unless Symes is very careful about that and camping near the top, that would make it very difficult for Symes to avoid every hit from Delta Ray. So this is definitely an interesting matchup. Bug Rise Sword vs Delta Ray, basically.
Pretty much. But yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. Alright, so this is, look at Meta Wolfie's side again.
Yeah.
So even the HP is almost the same. It's 50 HP difference. And again, keep in mind that Meta Wolfie does not have shoes, so these cracked panels are immediately threatening to him, whereas Symes doesn't care about them at all.
Jonathan's asking in chat if we've considered doing tournaments for older BN games, and the answer to that is we would like to, but unfortunately the way that connection, so they didn't have Wi-Fi capability, which means that we don't have an easy way to connect with them, so that's limiting their player base by quite a bit. That being said, Mars did make BBN 3 patch, which is basically an improved or better BN3, specifically for PvP. So that's the most likely one to have a tournament happening anytime soon.
Cool. So Wolfie manages to land a Charge Beast off of that race.
Yeah, that was very good. So even though Charge Beast is the most difficult to connect, it has good damage and the chip charge is very quick, so if you're able to connect that through Raceman or I think Timpani that was up, it's still pretty good.
At this point, and they're both still setting up their main strats, but I wonder who's going to kind of pop a Race Beast first and just start going for it. Very strong option in this format. I know Symes has slow gauge, so he can pressure, speaking of.
Yeah.
Wow, and that barrier's gone already.
Yeah, Beastbuster is no joke. Can deal a lot of damage. Ooh, nice
Ooh,
dodge.
gotcha, the first one.
Everyone's knocking out, nice. So that will interrupt the chip charge from Symes.
Oh no. And that was boosted too off of the race boost.
Yeah. Though at least he wasn't able, Symes wasn't able to use that anyway, so using that in a TFC allowed him to chip charge his next chip a bit more quickly.
Yeah, I think honestly Symes could have tanked the hit from that element and just gone for the tail arrow anyway. I think that might have been a more worthwhile trade, but still very early, and again, Symes still has set up his additional arrows. And he's got recovery. Oh no, he loses
And
it.
the wind wrap dodge as well, nice. That's really big. Unfortunate, yeah, so Elementsman will straight away deal with that.
No, so that's one of his two area traps used already.
Ooh,
yeah,
Deltray.
Symes kind of has a better ability in this matchup to get Wolfie's face. And like you said, this does set him up for Deltray more, but it's still a matter of just being able to land that at all.
Yeah, I mean,
depending on if whether Symes wants to camp the top or he's got defense up too.
I'm really questioning the order that Metal Wolfie went for. Why wouldn't he go for Delta Ray? I mean, Mag Coil for that Delta Ray. He could have at least chip charged that to deal with the anti-damage. But now, unfortunately, just has to throw that away. Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
Don't really know why he did it that way.
Judgment's gonna fit too. That's it for, yeah, that's his area of control is gone. His 2 area grabs are gone. Symes at this point can pressure very heavily. And his Delta Ray is gone too, so the one advantage he would have had from being trapped like that is gone.
Yep, but now we see Metal Wolfie still has plenty of chips that he can chip charge. He could go into Heat Beast and try to get advantage out of that grass panel.
Yeah, that the Element SP is actually a very good asset right now because he, well, one, Symes is on fire or is on grass panels, but he can also freeze him if Symes is getting close. Ooh, Bug Rise Sword is up. This is, so he wastes his anti-nav.
Unfortunate.
Could have ship charged it. That's still good damage off of that.
Yeah, didn't get the D cross.
Oh, he steps around the slash cross. But yeah, slash beast charge. He's not going to get a lot of value out of Chrono Force either because of the area that he's down. So even though Symes is lower in HP, in terms of positioning, in terms of kind of positioning himself to win, Symes just have a little bit of an advantage, but you've also got the recover 300 here as well, making the Metal Wolfie a little chunkier. But with that area that he's down, BRS is very strong here.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if we've seen Grab Revenge, but I don't think we have, so this might be rough for Metal Wolfie.
Is Metal Wolfie running a yeah, he is running one, but it hasn't shown up yet. Ooh, slash versus slash.
And there goes that slow gauge. So this is actually interesting because now this fanfare will deny the area from coming back. Ah, unfortunate miss. And
he's gonna take it. Ooh. Oh, wait, no, he's still alive.
Another air grab coming down. Let's see. Q-Force coming out from Symes and Gundam Soul. Oh wow!
So the sheer damage that came out of that,
yeah,
Metal Wolfie was dead before half the soldiers even come up. And when you add Gundam Soul on top of that, you can that's easily 1,000 plus. Yeah, he was Milton. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
He was Milton.
Yeah, that combo is so strong. If you can get it to land, and it can be easy to get it to land, but it's so powerful.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that makes you want to throw your like control out of a window when that happens. It's just, you lose like your life really fast before your eyes. You lose so much HP in like a couple seconds. Okay, the early Sanctuary play is going to get rid of those grass panels. Ooh. The Sanctuary panels are going to help kind of keep him a little more alive. Metal Wolfie is still playing this very well, even outside of not having not having shoes, not having too much in the way of area. He was very much making himself a threat.
Yeah, I mean, the last game, that could have easily been Wolfie's game unless, I mean, without the Q-Force coming out. Symes was down to 60 HP, I believe, so Wolfie's doing very well, all things considered.
I think he's going to go for the eraser. I think the Wind Rack 2 is a good option. If he predicts Symes going into a race beast, just laugh him out of it. Ooh. Oh, Electro. Okay.
Guess that makes sense.
I agree with that. That's literally the perfect camo configuration for destroying it. Yeah, it holds him with on.
And now, ooh, bees.
Bees.
And unfortunately, I don't think Wolfie managed to get out his panel fix out in time, so
yeah,
this is going to be rough.
Because Wolfie isn't running shoes, a race beast in itself is like a direct counter to him. Because he loses access to, when he gets paralyzed too, like the panels, the way they work, he can't move anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what Symes wants.
Yeah, I mean, if Symes is able to keep Wolfie in one place, then he can use slash chip charges, which is 400 damage each, and they charge relatively quickly, so it's definitely a big threat if Wolfie isn't careful.
And even outside of that, if he stays in a race beast, if he stays in a left beast and just pressures with those beast charges, he can just BRS slash him because he can't move.
Okay, looks like Wolfie chose the safer option of hiding behind these halls.
So they were literally trading. Oh. Ooh, the slow gauge is up, and yeah, it's gonna pop the trap. Oh, so that's a bold move by Wolfie. He's approaching him like this. He wants to get that play off. Unfortunately, he can't put that fanfare in the back row.
Yeah, that was very close. But he can use that as a way to try to bait Symes from stepping away from these broken panels, which is going to be an interesting play if we see that. Ooh, nice, yeah, that's the play. And now Q-Force coming out. Is that enough? The last panel didn't quite happen because of the broken panels, and now chip charge.
Oh, he's dead.
There it is.
Wow.
Q-Force.
That was like very quick and dirty.
Yeah. And that's the strength of Q-Force. Can very easily swing matches, can make comebacks happen. And, I mean, I do have to say that this was very well played from Wolfie, using that fanfare to bait and then ending it with his chip charge.
I think what's interesting about this turn here is there's cubes on the field and there's no dust cross, so they kind of have to deal with their movement being cut off in different ways here.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if one of them will want to break the other's cube on purpose, just to limit their movement. Ooh, oh no! Wolfie could have placed his timpani.
Yeah, that would have been enough to block it.
Ooh, nice.
Okay, let's go race, man.
And now we'll probably see chip charge coming out from Wolfie, getting the extra damage as well.
Yeah, that's gonna knock the trap out. Yeah, so that's like a double timpani. He couldn't move.
And again, though they trade this last one.
Oh, wow. So he stuffed the other one with his anti-damage. And that's like two charge beasts launched at him like that.
Yeah. I mean, this is really interesting to watch through. I feel like this represents Gregor more, just like chip charges going at each other, especially with how their animations look.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how Gregor. Raw damage everywhere.
Yeah.
Ooh. Both life orbs.
This life aura will do much less for Wolfie because the race tail is very difficult to avoid.
Ooh, gotta.
Oh,
Ooh,
that was close. Yeah.
That was smart. And the beach jump actually protected him. Give Symes. Oh no. Okay.
Oh no, we see that maximum area. Is that a Q-Force coming?
Symes could kill him on this turn with a Q-Force. Actually, we have the Gunno Force. This could close it out.
Yeah, but we do see that Grab Revenge is Sanctuary in hand, so this will do very well in protecting Metal.
He also doesn't have any defense this turn. Yeah, so it's depending on what comes out of Symes' turn.
Yeah.
He could still kill him, like, very easily. And he doesn't take the Sanctuary with him.
Interesting. Ooh, Bugrai Sword is coming out though.
So Q-Force won't be coming this turn.
Yeah.
But, ooh, we can decross.
Chip charge. Ooh! Oh no!
That's still that's enough. That's enough to get him at 1.
2 hits, yeah. So that was an interaction with the drag on Ice Panels.
And he lives to fight another turn. Symes hopefully got his recovery chips, because otherwise this is gonna be lights out.
I mean, again, we could still see that Q-Force coming. It's still a lot of damage. I'm not sure if Symes used his recoveries as well, so that could be another out for Symes. And yeah.
Ooh, yeah, recoveries was okay.
Now Bugrai Sword, let's see if he's able to connect. Okay.
Ooh, in this position, he might eat a...
Ooh!
Oh! Yeah, he's swinging, but he doesn't have the space for it right now.
Yeah. So Honor Knight is asking...
I think Wolfie might want to use his repair right now. Those ice panels are kind of going to mess him up a little bit. Whereas Symes is running float shoes, so it's not like a detriment to him.
And Honor Knight is asking if the drag so there with Mag Coil, why did that happen? And since Symes has float shoes, and the answer to that is drag on ice panels ignores float shoes. The only thing that affects it is Aqua Body, so Cloud Cross or Aqua Body in EXE.
So Symes gets a step closer, and now he can pressure fully with that Bugrai Sword.
Ooh, so we saw there Metal if he used that panel. Ooh, Q-Force coming out again!
Oh,
nice.
Wow, he survived that entire turn.
That was nice movement.
Actually, yeah, the Sanctuary here right now, that's going to be enough to protect him, but I think he wants to go for his own offensive play.
Yeah.
But he only has two columns.
I mean, with chip charges, that could still be enough, but looks like Metalfi is definitely going for the more offensive play, which I agree with, to be honest, because against Bugrai Sword in slow gauge, you can't just take one chip in Blastman or Elementsman and just call it a day.
Yeah, I would keep a race, but definitely you want to... Okay, he's not going with a race. I would think you would want to go for the tail arrows.
Yeah, I agree with that, because any defense could stop. So he might be thinking about using the reflector instead of chip charging it, trying to get counter it. Barely, and now that Q-Force coming out.
Is that enough?
Ooh.
Oh, no, the bees are out.
Bees, but now Sanctuary or taking Elementsman, which...
Element is enough to close this out.
Yeah.
This gives him multiple options.
And
he wants to take the bees.
I think an interesting thing here is that this won't apply flashing if it comes out. Ooh, Raceman misses.
Oh. That's enough.
One buster shot, let's see if he's able to get that. And yeah, there it was.
Wow, I don't know if he closes that out.
GG's, that was a really close game there. And definitely a very explosive one as well.
So moving into the next match, you've actually got two players that we haven't seen yet this tournament. On one hand, you've got SoulXCross, aka Spider-Man, versus Enduring Ray. And you've got another Gregor match. So.
Yeah.
And actually, both of these players are running air shoes, which is interesting. Very solid option for both. You got Spider-Man here going for an S-coded theme. So you got your Bubble Stars, you've got your Flash Bomb 3s. He did splash Summon Black 3 in here, which is good. What else? Yeah, Slashman SP, of course, and Chrono Force. Looking at Spider-Man's custom, kind of, because you can see the little where he left out the middle space, but he's actually managed to fill out quite a bit of it. He's got attack max in there. He's got his rush, his custom one, his HP 500s for a little extra bulk, and of course the air shoes, as you mentioned before. So S, I think, is very strong in this format. You've got a lot of things that are chip chargeable. Flash Bomb 3 in itself being able to cause blindness is kind of underrated. Blindness is very good because it does shut off your beast jumping.
Yeah.
So in a format like this, being able to do that consistently counts for a lot.
And especially that Enduring Grey is playing Gregor, so if Soul or Spider-Man is able to put his flash bombs at the back row, then basically Enduring Grey won't have any way of dealing with them.
Yeah, and they pierce invisible as well, so that's one more asset to that helps out a lot. But I don't think Enduring Ray is running any invises, so actually he's running all barrier 300s or barrier 100s, excuse me, which will block those.
But yeah, believe let's head into the match, see how it plays out. Our final match for the day.
Yep, and I do also notice with Enduring Ray, he's running M Cannon, which not only is it beast chargeable, but it's also plus 30. So
yeah,
those M Cannons will break life aura. So kind of watch out for that. Also the Lance drag combos too.
All right, let's head into it.
Yep. So this is from Spider-Man's point of view. I noticed that pretty much every regular player we've seen so far is like they usually go for the charge play at the beginning. I think it's to kind of establish that custom up. Spider-Man might be playing this a little bit differently. Looking at Heat.
I mean, Heat is interesting with this field because it might be more difficult actually to try to confirm the head because the ice panels cause movement to
go for a left. The immediate slow gauge from Enduring Ray. Ooh. I do like the use of Fire Burn here. One, it's boosted, and two...
Oh, nice.
Oh, the M Cannon.
M Cannon coming out. I mean, that might have been literally the first time I see M Cannon connecting in PvP.
Yeah, ever. But yeah, I like the use of Fire Burn because not only is it boosted by heat, it also cracks panels. And in a format like this where regular players aren't always running shoes, that can be very strong. Let's see if Enduring Ray chooses to stay in a lek. Again, they are both running air shoes, so panel breaking isn't as much of an asset here. Although it's helping Soul out with these Summon Blacks.
And another one.
Again, that is so disrespectful. It's true. shoot him in the face.
Unfortunately, that element man was used a bit too early, which ends up missing.
Look at how much damage they've done to each other in 2 turns.
Yeah, I mean, the Amp Cannon was actually do quite a bit, 220 with the Beast bonus. That's quite big.
Yeah, it's 200 and, see, plus 36. 200 and, yeah, 210 I think. But yeah, that's good damage. Oh, this is...
Okay.
Sheesh. So, the Judgment's gonna have longer stun here, so Enduring Ray's gonna recover faster. Ooh, nice. The barrier's up.
Let's see.
Oh, he can take out the barrier with it. Yeah,
nice.
He stepped on it.
Yeah.
There's no blindness today.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, the drag combo.
Now their HP is much lower gap.
He's shooting at nothing. But yeah, that barrier is still there on Enduring Ray's side. Yeah, I think, okay, that's a smart move because that's going to give a boost to Soul's own machine guns. It's like maybe choosing to stay in Slash. I guess if he bubbles, that's going to give him enough time to do a Slash Beast and end it there.
Ooh, fanfare comes
out.
That will be destroyed very quickly. Ooh, nice!
Oh, Miramasa.
Now,
that's game.
Final hit, yeah, there it was.
Yeah, Gregor versus Gregor. Oh no, there's perma-holes. So, that could be a problem for both sides.
Yeah, though I think it might be worse for Soul. Actually, Soul does have these summon blacks, so it's actually better for Soul.
Yeah, and they're both running air shoes, so that at least... But neither one of them can grab area too far.
So Q-Force is going to be quite a bit weaker, especially if they're careful in hiding behind these perma-holes.
Ooh. Wish the Judgment. But that bubble from Soul's side is going to be a problem. That's going to decross.
Oh no, that's going to destroy that fanfare. Oh, nice!
Oh, just in time. He has another bubble though.
Yeah, let's see if Prix is able to avoid that. Ah, unfortunate. And now that confirms 400 damage chip charge.
That is painful. Ooh, he hits it with the M cannon. He hasn't missed a single M cannon so far. They've all just gotten right in his face for 210. So Soul getting a lot of value out of the slash beast right now.
Yeah. But no, Race Beast coming out from a Doom Grade. Nice. Ooh. Oh. Even better.
Oh no, that might be a free tail arrow. Depending.
Oh.
Oh, I think he released it too early.
Oh, that's unfortunate, and I think that Lance missed as well.
Oh, but he lands one.
And now their HP is coming back, and now we see that HP drain is starting to pick up on Soul. So he needs to watch out.
Yeah, Soul already went into the battle having an HP bug, and eating that tail arrow is not helping matters much at all. Ooh, the flash bomb.
Ooh, oh no, this could be bad if Doomgrade doesn't have any beef. Ooh, nice!
The bees!
And the counter hits on that Windrak. This is, and the Muramasa as well.
Oh no!
Oh, looks like that will connect doing 400 damage.
It's still anybody's game.
Ooh, that Windrak really made it close. Now down to 80 HP between them. 1 HP.
Oh my goodness, this is wow.
So looking at that beast over, hoping he can have that as an option to try to finish it off. but he'll have to
There's
play
no
off.
beast over in this format.
Yeah.
That option is gone here.
Okay, look at TFC
Soul
chain
has a
window.
slight advantage because he's got a little. Ooh, yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
And Summon Black is going to take that off.
Yeah. Still defense. The one buster shot is enough. Ooh, Windrak.
Oh, whoa, oh.
Okay, anti-damage missing there now. All Rain needs to do is hold B. Just wait out.
Yeah.
See who cracks, tries to get greedy.
Go.
Okay, they're still stuck there. Ooh, but we see that Elec Pulse. If Soul mashes that, no, actually that's still way too risky.
I would take both of those defensive options like first, because he wants to make sure that he can. And he's already Rush has already been used, so wow, he's gonna. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with the Q-Force. I think Q-Force has Chip Flag. Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Q-Force coming out both sides. That Windrak isn't going to do much, and yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Ooh.
That was a nail biter.
And now with permaholds again, and Soul has both of his Summon Black Star 1, so this is really a good start for Soul.
Yeah, Cielael points out that Chrono Force has no chip lockout, so Soul is completely that was the right option. Yeah, he can immediately pressure with the Summon Black. So.
Yeah.
This is really a nail biter even now because they can either one of them can swing this immediately.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw both games were really, really close.
Oh, that's gonna block it. Oh no, that's gonna block that too. The bees are still out. More bees came out. Yeah, Soul waiting to pop that. Oh, he's gonna get a few more shots out. Soul is loving the slash beast option in this match.
Ooh. Looks like Soul is trying to set up his slash.
So let's see, he's got these flash bombs as an option. He can charge them, he can throw them out. Ooh, man. He's gonna get that bubble damage if he lines his combo on him. Ooh! Bubble.
Oh,
no.
I didn't think he went.
One's gonna pop and the second one is gonna. Yeah, I like that. So his beat jump is gone. So one thing to point out is that with Beast, Enduring Raid can still see where Soul is because of the Beast targeting reticle, but he can't lock onto him with his chips. So really looking to. Ooh! Oh no, that's not gonna work. He's literally occupying the same spot. Uh-oh.
Ooh, nice.
Freeze.
Oh no, he didn't know.
I don't think he meant that.
Yeah, the Aqua Dragon coming out better than nothing. Windrak, 20 HP. Let's see.
Wow. Well played. Soul had those slash combos unlocked, and that's what really allowed him to take this one.
Yeah, and Soul chip charged his bug fix, which is very interesting play, very risky.
Yeah, I think that was the right option to go for in that one. He wanted to close it out, and that was his best option. It's just that he.
Yeah.
Ooh. That was that's right. That was kind of a stomp. That last one, though. Soul just went all out and threw his entire arsenal at him each turn.
Well, that was a really good match. So unfortunately, that will conclude today's stream. But before we go, just going to explain what we have coming up. So starting from tomorrow, we're going to be starting New Moon. However, this time it will be for mod cards. So signups are still open until today at 10 p.m. PST. So if you haven't already, make sure to join the N1GP Discord um, and use exclamation New Moon to get the information on how to sign up. People are more than happy to help with setting up. And after that, we're going to be doing Blood Moon, which is basically, so the way we have it organized is four new moon cycles, and the fourth one being Blood Moon, which is where people try to go. It's basically more of a formal tournament. We have the first stage round robin, similar to normal new moon, and then we have extend it by another week, make it with a top cut, and to then decide a winner for our Moon Master.
Yeah,
And
that'll definitely be interesting to see.
yeah, so will be the first one we do for mod cards, so it will be very interesting to see the builds that people bring up onto the table.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so that will conclude today's stream. So thank you again for everyone for watching, and thank you, Buster Cannon, for joining me on commentary.
Absolutely, always a pleasure.
And yes, huge shout out to Salad as usual for working really hard on making the layout and hosting the tournament. And thanks again everyone for watching. Alright, see you next week. Goodbye.
Take care.